What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday night Q&A Hangout. We got to talk a little bit of Chiefs-Eagles, a little bit of feeling, see how everybody's doing. First 0-2 start in the Patrick Mahomes era. First 0-2 start for the Kansas City Chiefs in the Andy Reid era since 2014. See how you guys are doing. Then, obviously, we're turning the page a little bit here. I'm not through the full game, but the Chiefs take on the Giants Sunday Night Football. The 0-2. Sounds so crazy to say. The 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs are going to New York to take on the 0-2 New York Giants. Patrick Mahomes versus Russell Wilson, where I believe the Chiefs are currently 5.5-point favorites in this game. They should win this game. I can still see this game being a stressful, down-to-the-wire slugfest that is way closer than it needs to be. And there's multiple reasons why. Obviously, we need the defense to play how they did against the Eagles. The Chiefs' defense was not the problem in this Eagles loss. Sure, could they have done a couple things here or there? Of course. But if you have a pie chart and you have the defense on there, well, they're going to take up just a small sliver in my eyes. Okay? The defense hopefully can replicate that. But the Cowboys-Giants game was crazy. Russell Wilson's coming off of a monster outing. He had over 220-something yards on passes that went over 20. So any pass that he threw over 20 yards, so i.e. deep balls, 220-something yards. Absolutely insane. On the night, you can look at it. He had 450 yards passing. Russell Wilson did. 3 touchdowns and an interception. 450 yards passing in one game from Russell Wilson. This man, he didn't even use the microwave. He was cooking with an oven. Like old Russ. They didn't have much of a run game, but look at this. Malik Neighbors, 9 for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8 for 142 yards and a touchdown. Darius Slayton had 2 for 62. An absolutely crazy night that featured like 26 penalties between the two teams. Very ugly. Their left tackle, talking about the Giants, it was their backup left tackle. He had 4 flags. 4 flags in the first drive of the game. 2 personal fouls and I think 2 false starts. We freak out, rightfully so, because Jawan Taylor has 4 flags in a game. This man had 4 flags in a drive. In the opening drive. It was absolutely madness. So that's what the Chiefs are going to have to deal with. Brian Daboll and the Giants on Sunday. They had a close one against the Philadelphia Eagles. There were some pros, some cons, some encouraging things that we saw, and some discouraging things that we saw. And I want to get to your thoughts pretty quickly here because you guys have heard my thoughts in yesterday's recap video. And you'll hear more of my thoughts probably tonight as you ask questions. But I was thinking about the Chiefs offense, and the lack of run game is a shame. I think it was a failure, a pretty big one, by the Chiefs front office this offseason. And it's amplified because Worthy's hurt, Rice is suspended, and we don't talk about this a lot, but Jalen Royals, who, yeah, you're like, oh, well, we don't know what he's even going to bring to the offense because he's a rookie, but they drafted Jalen Royals because he had a similar skill set to Rashee Rice. I think they were hoping to be able to build Royals up and use him a little bit, at least in the Rice role, while Rice was suspended and Royals has been injured. So you got no Rice, you had no Worthy, and you had no Royals, who was potentially supposed to fill in the Rice role, and no run game. None. Cole, the O-line is not good. You couldn't even have Saquon back there running for extra yards. I have seen those comments. Respectfully disagree. There are yards to be had. Mitchell Schwartz has broke it down, or multiple people have broke it down. Multiple people have broken it down. I think it's, Mitchell Schwartz and then Jeff. They both broke it down. I was getting my names tied in my head. But both of these guys, Mitchell and Jeff Schwartz, both of them broke it down. Pacheco's not seeing it, guys. He's not seeing it. And it sucks. It's unfortunate. They didn't do enough to the running back room. And the one, like, quote unquote, maybe kind of splash signing they made which wasn't a splash signing at all, was Elijah Mitchell, and he's a healthy scratch. He's your Ronald Jones from 2 or 3 seasons ago. So when you don't have wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and then Jalen Royals, who was supposed to maybe fill in some of Rice's role during his suspension, you don't have those 3. You don't have a run game. It is tough sledding, and it's nasty. It's ugly. It looks like 2024 all over again because it kind of is. Travis Kelce looks better. I understand he had the drop. He had a miscue with Mahomes week 1, the drop in the end zone or near the end zone, resulting in the Eagles' interception that they turned into a touchdown. That probably wins you the game if you score that touchdown, or it's at least close and not a 10-point game in the back half, the halfway through the fourth quarter. But Kelce looks good out there. I know he had the drop, and I'm not going to excuse the drop. I see some people on Twitter trying to excuse the drop, weirdly trying to place no blame at all on Travis Kelce. Come on, guys. 13 years in the NFL. He's going to talk on his podcast tomorrow, and he's going to be pissed, and he's going to take full responsibility. Mahomes said, I could have put the ball on him a little better. Come on, man. Mahomes isn't going to throw Kelce under the bus during his post-game presser. He's not doing it. And Kelce's going to laugh at that and say, nah, Mahomes didn't need to say that. It's on me. But Kelce looks good. He's flying around. He's lost weight. He looks faster. He's winning routes. The problem is when Kelce's 35 years old, the offense can't funnel through him anymore. Not solely, not exclusively, not with no run game at all. One of the worst run games in the NFL right now. Kareem Hunt, shout out to him. He's done some short yardage stuff, but that's about it. You watch any other game and they're breaking tackles. One of the Giants running backs on the opening drive, it was negated because of a penalty. I think it was Tyrone Tracy. I thought this man was going to be tackled for a 1-yard gain. He spun off of it, outside run for 25 yards. My jaw dropped because I am like, what in the was that? I'm just not used to it right now. I'm not used to seeing running backs break tackles and make extra moves and get yards. I'm just not. I'm also being a little bit harsh, I understand, but there's urgency here. You're 0-2. All these games are getting more important. The Chargers are 2-0, and they have the tiebreaker right now over the Chiefs because they won week 1. I didn't care as much about the Eagles' loss. I wanted the win. I thought it was important. Every win's important, but the important game was week 1, and they lost it. That's your division opponent. That's your division rival. So yeah, there's some urgency here. So that's why I'm speaking with a little bit of urgency. I don't think it's doom and gloom. I don't think the sky's falling. I think the Chiefs probably make the playoffs. The Ravens were 0-2 last year to start the season. The Broncos were 0-2 last year to start the season, and they both made the playoffs. I was like making sure in my head, I was like, the Broncos made the playoffs, right? The Broncos and the Chargers made it. But there's urgency. And even without the weapons, without the run game, all of it, I just think this team normally can figure it out, and they're close. They normally execute on key downs late in the game. The Kelce drop. Mahomes has missed some passes. Harrison Butker's missed a field goal and an extra point in back-to-back games. The Chiefs lost out on 13 points against the Eagles on Sunday and only lost by 3. Do the math on that. Do the math on that, because when Butker misses a field goal, when Andy Reid and company go for it on 4th and 1 with one of the poorest 4th down attempts you could do based on the Eagles personnel and where they were lined up and what you were trying to do with the Chiefs personnel, it's kind of a disaster. That turns into an Eagles field goal. That's 6. Butker missed field goal. The coaches gave up a field goal. Kelce with the touchdown. That is 13 points, and you lose to the defending Super Bowl champs by 3. There's no moral victories here, but the Chiefs had opportunities to win this game, and have you noticed I haven't even mentioned the tush push because it was this on the list of concerns for me. We're not going to see the Eagles again unless you see them in the Super Bowl or something. You're not going to see them the rest of the season. I think they're going to crack down on the tush push. Yes, they were false starting. The Chiefs were also a little bit close on the ball, maybe some neutral zone stuff going on. I think that play probably gets banned next year. I think they're going to crack down on it the rest of the season. Sure, they should have flagged a couple of them, okay? And maybe there was some different stuff that played out, but that was a minor concern to me based on the Chiefs normally being able to execute. Harrison Butker, highest paid. kicker in the NFL. I know it's a 58-yarder. It's not a chip shot, but that dude missed, I mean, so wide right. It was one of the worst kicks I've ever seen him attempt. Travis, very uncharacteristic catch. Somebody said it was tipped. It was not tipped. I watched the coach's film. I'm sorry. The ball was not tipped. Even if it was, he's supposed to catch that ball, okay? And he made some other great plays in this game. Mahomes made some great throws in this game, but he had some misses. A lot of these guys, the leaders on the team, Chris Jones, multiple penalties, a couple penalties early. Trash talking at the end of Jalen Hurts. You didn't even get 100 yards. Who cares? They won the freaking game, bro. What are we doing? That's loser talk. Don't do that. That's lame. I understand a little bit in the heat of the moment you're frustrated by the tush push, because every team is probably frustrated by the tush push when you have to go against the Eagles and they run it 7 times. It's impossible. It's automatic. I get that there's frustrations in the moment, but we need the leaders on this team and Andy Reid to execute a better game plan at times in order to help this team win games until they can get more weapons back. Worthy return. Rice return. The margin of error, it's too slim to not execute in these crucial situations. The Chiefs won almost every single game. I think they were like 10-0 last year in one-score games. They're 0-2 in one-score games this year because they didn't execute on a couple of key crucial plays sometimes late in this game. There's blame to go around. It's not the same amount of blame for everybody. So I just don't want you to think because I said Mahomes could make some better throws that I think he is as much to blame as some of the other issues I brought up. Because I think Mahomes he's your leading rusher on the team in back-to-back weeks because he's just trying to do whatever he can to will this team to win. Mahomes basically has to be Superman all game in order to win. It's not really sustainable, man. So that's just kind of where I am. And I would love to know where you guys are at because I think I've probably vented long enough. All in all, the sky's not falling. I think the Chiefs can climb out of this hole. It just got more urgent when you start out the season 0-2. And I know you guys agree. And I still have faith. I still have some confidence in the team, man. It's not over for me or anything crazy like that. They've been through more difficult times just in the Mahomes era, have never started out 0-2. But there was a point in time, I don't remember what year it was, 2021, something around there. They were 3-4 at one point, okay? So things have been ugly before. But you need to right the ship, and you need to try to win some of these games. I think it will be easier a little bit to some extent in the back half of the season when you've got Rice and Worthy back. And I don't even know I don't know what Worthy's going to look like. I don't know what to expect from him with the shoulder injury. He has a labral tear somewhere. Ian Rappaport said a fully torn labrum. That is not even a thing, okay? If he tore it from here, I've had 2 labrum surgeries on my shoulder, which is why I feel like I can speak on this a little bit. If he tore his labrum from here all the way around, I mean, your arm's going to pop out if you sneeze. I think he might have a complete tear, whether it's on the front, the top, the back. You're always going to tear something with the dislocation. But all that to say, when Worthy comes back, if it's this week against the Giants, there's a chance of re-injury for sure. I can't even count on him being dependable the rest of the season in my head right now. So all we can do is hope that some of these guys stay healthy. When Rice returns, he stays healthy, and you just execute at a little bit higher of a level. I was looking up snap counts because I'm like, what are they going to do with the running back room? I just don't know. Brashard Smith had 5 snaps. He had 5 snaps. I don't know. What do you got to lose with Brashard Smith? Pacheco's not seeing it. He's not seeing the holes. I like Pacheco, but he's not. I don't know if he's the guy right now. I think Kareem Hunt might be the guy, but he has no burst. He has no speed, no explosiveness. Not really. So that's probably my bigger concern right now. And with that, I'm going to turn it to you guys. Jennifer, thanks so much for the 5 gifted. Derek with the gifted. Appreciate both of you. Jennifer, the legend, always holding it down in these streams. Reeves with the 5. Let's lose as many games possible for a top draft pick. Sarcasm, unless. You can't tank during Mahomes' prime. This man just turned 30 years old, or he's going to turn 30 tomorrow. It's not over. You got Chris Jones. You got Kelce. You got all the pieces. Rice is coming back. Worthy should be back this week. Hopefully there is light on the horizon, if that's the proper phrase. And You've got to win some of these games. It's not going to get easier. Not really in these next few weeks. Yeah, the Giants, okay, they should win that. I hope so. You have the Ravens week 4. You got Lions and Commanders coming up. The Jags are in there too. I mean, it's going to be tough. Kyle, thanks so much for the 5. Currently having Southern fried chicken. You freshly made yourself for dinner? Nice, dude. That sounds fantastic. Mail some to me. About time with the 26 months. Let's freaking go. Casey will air this out and get on track. Remember, our wide receivers are returning. Heck yeah. Yes, sir. Slamming with the 2. You can only extend one player, Chanel or Pacheco. I mean, I guess Chanel. I don't know right now. Reaps with the 2. Joking, people. But we need a top running back talent. And I don't want people to think, hey, you need Saquon Barkley, you need James Cook. That's not what I'm saying, but you need more investment in the running back room than a 7th-round pick in Pacheco, a 1-year flyer on Kareem Hunt, and Elijah Mitchell, 1-year flyer who didn't even play at all last year, and then a 7th-rounder in Brashard Smith. And I'm not even trying to hate on Brashard Smith. He might be electric. We don't know. They don't play him. He's a rookie with 1 year of experience at the running back position. We just don't know. I was looking at... Who was I looking at? I was watching the Bucs game last night and just watching their running backs. I was like, this is insane. Bucky Irving. When was he drafted? I'm going to look it up. Bucky Irving was drafted in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. You want to know who the Chiefs drafted? Just a few picks after? So he was within striking distance. Tight end Jared Wiley. I believe Wiley was taken a few selections after. I'm not sitting here saying you need to go out and get Saquon or anything like that, but you can invest more in the running back room and find pieces that can complement your offense a little bit more than they've done. So I just, that's kind of where I'm at with the running back room and why I am frustrated. I was hoping that they would draft somebody a little bit earlier, but I understand it's not always that easy. Certain guys they probably had on their board got taken off. They saw other guys of value like Jeffrey Bossa, and I'm excited about him. There's Noel Williams. Like I'm not sitting here saying I could be Veach, I could run this team, or anything like that. I think just as a fan like you guys, I'm partially venting and processing out loud. CB with the 5. Chargers D, going to be top 3-5. Eagles D, top 5-10. Both offenses, top 5-10. We're going to be just fine with Rice and Worthy return. And Pop gets his mojo. Yeah, that is a take for sure in the sense of the Chargers are good team. They're a good team. There's no doubt about it. The Eagles are a good team. They are the defending Super Bowl champs. So it's not like the Chiefs played scrubs and got blown out in back-to-back weeks. It was close games in both of them. It was potentially winnable, both of them, if you execute on a few certain plays there. Even if Harrison Butker just makes the extra point in that week 1 game in Brazil, and then you're not having to chase the 2-point conversion later and you miss that, the Chargers score a touchdown and it's a 2-score game. It's not just on Butker, but I'm just saying it's just little things, little execution errors, mistakes that the Chiefs normally execute at a higher level, almost higher than anybody else in the NFL. They have often been outpowered by teams that they play in the playoffs from a roster perspective. Position group by position group, if you break it down, who is a lot of people going to take roster-wise over the Chiefs, probably minus quarterback, defensive tackle, and tight end, Travis Kelce, unless they're playing somebody that's like a Brock Bowers, and the Raiders probably aren't going to be in the playoffs. They're a mess right now. But the Chiefs have been able to just out-execute teams when it matters the most. It's fine. We'll figure it out, and we'll make less mistakes. That's what they've typically been able to do, and that's what they have struggled to do the first 2 weeks. Again, they are without some big pieces, some firepower that is returning. So it's not like they played scrubs. So very, very good points for sure, CB. Antonio with the 22 months. I was at the game Sunday, and I could say our defense really stepped up. That's a great positive. I thought the defense was awesome. You did have to blitz Jalen Hurts on like 64% of his dropbacks. I don't know if that's sustainable. Mike Dana got injured super early. The pass rush was basically non-existent. George Karlaftis had a 7.7 pass rush win rate, way too low, 3 pressures, and everybody else on the D-line had 1 or 0. So you couldn't get home to Hurts against a very good O-line, so context matters. The Eagles have a top 3 O-line. I don't know if they have the best O-line in the NFL. They might, but it's definitely top 3. You couldn't get home. So you were sending everybody and anybody from all kinds of different directions. You blitzed Hurts on 64% of his dropbacks. Absolutely insane. The highest blitz rate Spags has ever had since becoming the defensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs in 2019. What? With that being said, the defense was great. They looked pretty good out there. Limited Saquon. The secondary held it down. There were times when Hurts had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? So much time in the pocket to sit back there, get ready, and go through his reads. And the secondary held up. The secondary held up. And so I think the defense played really well. I do. Joshua with the 2. What's the deal with Royals? Yeah, I don't know. Some knee tendonitis going on. There is some swelling. Knee tendonitis, it involves some swelling there. I hope he comes back soon because he's not on IR. They don't think this is an injury that's going to keep him out a minimum of 4 weeks. So he's not on IR. Worthy's not on IR. You then today just released or terminated the practice squad contract of Hal Presley today. And you bring back linebacker Cole Christensen, who per Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest never even had his locker cleaned out. So he was coming back this whole time. But that means, even Matt Derrick says it, tells me that Worthy and or Royals will be ready for more work this week. They're trending in a positive direction. When you bring somebody like Hal Presley in, it's sometimes just to get work on the scout team and to help you in these practices preparing for the games. It's not always, they're going to play. Some people get concerned about the practice squad moves, but sometimes it's just you need extra guys in there, kind of like training camp to a smaller scale. But training camp, you need bodies. You need some bodies in there sometimes. James, with the 5, you should do a poll of which KC player should be the next Tony Lamp. The lamp needs a head on it. I still can't believe the Chiefs went into the 2023 NFL season with wide receiver 1 being Kadarius Toney. That's what Brett Veach said, and that was the plan. Kadarius Toney was going to be the Chiefs wide receiver 1 in 2023. Huh? That's insane in hindsight. Absolutely insane. But maybe we do need a new Tony Lamp. Cole, why are your hands looking so red? It's just the way my camera reads my skin in the shadows. It's kind of weird. But they don't actually look that red. Although, I would say because I'm super pale and Irish, my face, my hands, my feet, maybe even my elbows, like they just are they're probably more red than the average person, but I don't know. But it's partially just the camera because they're not really that red until you put them in the shadows like that. You bought the jersey? Which jersey? Unpopular hot take. Andy Reid has lost his offensive touch. He's still a great CEO, keeping everything in line, but his offensive scheme is old, outdated, and slow. Reid needs to get some new people. Yeah, so I was for Matt Nagy not returning this year and then bringing in somebody else from the outside just to have some fresh blood in there. And I'm for Matt Nagy not returning next year and then bringing in some fresh blood, maybe Mike McDaniel. I don't think that's going to happen, but just somebody that's going to get fired from their team this upcoming season. Bring in fresh blood. I think it's fine. Even with that being said, I think there are some aspects of Andy Reid's game that are not working. I think you need to figure some stuff out in the run game for sure. But you're really just a lack of execution on a few plays away from winning that game on Sunday. Mahomes overthrows Thornton for a wide open touchdown, and that would put almost an extra minute on the clock where you might have 2 attempts to stop the Eagles instead of 1. 1 first down because it took you a couple more throws to hit Thornton deep down the field instead of 2 first downs if you hit him on the first one. Noah Gray early, hitting him. Kelce not fumbling. Harrison Butker making the field goal. Andy Reid, even though his defense is dominating, opting to go for it on 4th down at the 35-yard line. Trust your defense. They held the Eagles to, I don't know, their lowest output in 2021 or whatever it was on Twitter today that they posted, and got absolutely obliterated in the comments on their account. Trust your defense. It would be one thing if the Eagles are just doing whatever they wanted, like the Super Bowl, and just marching down the field, touchdown, Mahomes is throwing pick sixes and all this, but they weren't. You were just a few misexecutions away from winning that game. So yeah, some of it for sure is on Andy Reid. But he schemed people open. Kelce was open for the touchdown. Thornton was open deep down the field. There were openings there. So I would like some fresh blood. I agree with you. But I think the ability to win that game was there and the players didn't execute. With that being said, they need to figure something out with the run game. You've got to switch some stuff up there. You've got to help the deficiencies on this roster from a talent perspective until you can get some of these key players back. And hopefully you get Worthy back and he's fine. He has no limitations in his range of motion, which, dude, I've had 2 labrum surgeries. I still don't have full range of motion in this arm, and it still hurts if I have to work above my head. Like if I have to sit below my desk and like do cable management or drill stuff into it, or just I'm setting up a new desk somewhere in a different office, my shoulder hurt for the rest of the day. It's just, I hope he's going to be all right. But he's going to have limitations probably until the end of the season in some capacity, until he most likely gets surgery. Les one with the 2 bomb said Toe Burrow. It's actually a crazy nickname. I feel bad. I feel bad. Joe Burrow's out for a minimum of 3 months. It's another borderline season-ending injury. Sometimes you can't prevent injuries. Maybe there's some stuff you could do in the prep aspect of things in the offseason and stuff like that. But yeah, super unfortunate, and I'm not a Bengals fan, but I'm not a fan of anybody getting injured, no matter what team they play on, and basically no matter who you are as a player. So, yeah, super unfortunate there. Casey with the 10, what's up? Thank you so much, man. Not panicking yet. Yes, sir. I agree with you. We have some issues for sure. Agreed. But want to see how we respond this week in a must-win game. Can't be 0-3 going into the Ravens game. Need this win. But if 0-3, we still have HBTC. How about those Chiefs? I hope they're not 0-3. They shouldn't be. They should not be. Thanks so much for the 10 bomb, brother. Reaps with the 2. Did you talk about the Schwartz's tweets? I did. I didn't read them verbatim. But yeah, they were seeing deficiencies in the run game. Pacheco was missing some stuff. But then Mitchell Schwartz was breaking down all the linemen. And Kingsley did a pretty decent job, all things considered. Josh Simmons looks really good. I think Creed gave up 1 pressure to Jalen Carter. Jawan Taylor is a serviceable right tackle if he's not drawing flags. So yeah, there are some definite positive takeaways, but there's some aspects of the run game. Like even Jeff Schwartz was like, the run game is stale. They don't have any playmakers to make guys miss tackles and to fight for extra yards. Like, I don't know, a lot of other running backs in the NFL. Just saying. So yeah, if you have a bone to pick with Andy Reid, I think they need to do something about the run game. And again, I get the fact that the O-line, they're not firing. They're not like a top 10 run blocking O-line or anything like that. This is just per PFF. Okay. Take that for what you will, but they're like 27th, 28th run blocking grade through 2 weeks out of all teams in the NFL. But you break down the film and there are absolutely plays where Pacheco or somebody else could fight for more yards and they go this way instead of following Trey Smith and Creed this way. There are times where the O-line is doing a better job than the running backs made it seem, for sure. Slamming with the 3 months. People talking about making trades. I'm worried about having a good roster in 2 years because we can't afford to keep the players we have with our cap. Well, in a couple years, just key players will be gone. Chris Jones is probably gone after 2 years. I would have to go look at it. I think you can move on. I'm not saying they will, but there's some dead money involved. I think Mike Dan is probably gone. I think Nick Bolton has an out in his contract. Like, there's a lot of people. Travis Kelce, he might be done. There's a lot. Jawan Taylor, you're moving on from him. So there's going to be a lot of turnover in the next couple of years. And even all the 2022 draft class minus the 2 guys that they picked up the 5th-year option of, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, they're all on the last year of their deal. Leo Chanel. Not Sky Moore anymore because he's a 49er. Isaiah Pacheco. Brian Cook. Najee Johnson. Josh Williams. Jalen Watson. I'm probably missing somebody. But all those guys from 2022. Yeah, a lot of decisions to make. I think if you're concerned enough about a position group in particular, though, and you think it could really affect the season, slamming, I think you got to make a trade. I am fine with making a trade for a running back to some extent. The problem is, who are you going to get to trade right now? Maybe if a team has no shot at the playoffs before the trade deadline, but that's in like 6 weeks. That's a rough approximate estimation. Last one with the 2, he shouldn't call it Burrowhead. Oh, he never did. That was the Defenders. I've never personally heard Joe Burrow say really anything disrespectful about the Chiefs. It's been more Jamar, some of the Defenders, and stuff like that. So maybe I missed it, but I haven't really heard really any of the quarterbacks, even Jalen Hurts, speak anything too crazy. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, I feel like most times those guys are pretty respectful. Jim, man, Cole, and everyone needs to chill. We're going to get it rolling. Trust in Veach and Reed. Yeah, you don't want to overreact about 2 weeks in the season by any stretch of the imagination, but your schedule's not getting easier over the next few weeks. You're 0-2. You're down some key pieces, and you need your leaders in this room or on the roster, on offense, on defense, coaching staff. They have to step up. They have to play better and execute at a higher level. And I already understand, Cole, that's asking a lot out of some of these guys. They need some others to step up. I don't know if that's going to happen, so you've got to have the blue chip guys, the future Hall of Famers, do it and carry a little bit here, even more at a higher level, more consistently. I saw some comments that they were upset that I was saying Mahomes could be playing a little bit better in certain areas. I'm not saying anything he didn't say. He said, I missed Noah Gray early in the game. He was open. I overthrew him. I missed Tyquan Thornton down the field. He was open. You go through the film, and Mahomes has had some misses. Now, has he had some hits? For sure. Is he carrying the team on his back sometimes in the run game? Is he the leading rushing quarterback through 2 weeks in the NFL? Does the Chiefs have the highest EPA per rush in the NFL because of Mahomes? Absolutely. It's not sustainable. It's insane. But he's also missing some throws here and there. Some of it's a talent issue. The overall ceiling in that room isn't what it should be because you're down Worthy, Rice, and Royals. Chris Jones, he's just going to have to keep playing elite because it seems like the other guys around him are struggling a little bit. Travis Kelce, I think he's your leading receiver through 2 weeks on the team. Hollywood Brown outproduced him last in Brazil partially because of that 50-yard bomb. It got Hollywood to 90 whatever yards, maybe 99. Yeah, you got to have more, get more out of the blue chip guys, and I understand that's putting a lot on them. That's asking a lot of them. I don't know what else you're supposed to do. Yeah, some of the other guys need to step up. I understand. Tyquan Thornton, he's shown some interesting promise and flashes in the deep game. He's getting open at a higher frequency than MVS, I think, ever did. Mahomes should just chuck some deep passes, man. I don't know how many games I watch on film on Sunday in primetime where these quarterbacks are just throwing some effort balls sometimes. Which would you prefer? 3-3-yard passes and a punt on 4th and 1? Or taking a deep shot every now and again for a 50-yard completion? They're not high percentage throws to be completed, but I think you're going to have to take some shots and just be a little bit more aggressive. Patrick Mahomes with the 5. People are saying the dynasty's over. Might start 0-3. Bunch of Eagles fans making fun of us, saying the Chiefs don't have the refs help no more. Yeah. I mean, it's GG's to the Eagles. I think the ref talk is a little weird and kind of dumb, to be honest with you. But there were stretches, there were times when the Patriots were not always winning and they were still a dynasty or in between. As long as you have Mahomes and some of these key pieces, you're always going to be in the fight. And they've got to make some changes. There's no doubt about it. But some of these changes aren't coming right now. They're not happening. So you've got to deal with it and just wait for the reinforcements to arrive. Hopefully Worthy this week, Rice week 7. Yep, Denny said have to take some risk and let your wide receiver skills work. Yeah, and Thornton's getting open. There were other plays last week that Thornton was open down the field, and Mahomes he was either past that read already, was looking elsewhere, or maybe the pocket was making him uncomfortable and he chose to do something else based on that. And the pocket hasn't always been extremely clean, okay? It hasn't been perfect. But yeah, you've got to take some calculated risks sometime. Luker with the 5. What's up, man? As a Giants fan, your chat is so pessimistic. You're going to blow us out by 30. You'll be back to normal once you get healthy and be fine. Well, hey, if the Chiefs win by 30, bro, I'll fly you down to KC and treat you to Jack Stack Barbecue or Q39, some of the best barbecue in the city, because that would be fantastic. I have a feeling it's going to be much closer than that. But the Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites. I think they win this game. Brian Daboll's on the hot seat. I thought he might have been fired last year. He wasn't. Russ is Russ, but he had a really good game. He kind of threw a dumb pick at the end of that one. I get it, but he had 450 yards last game. So I think the Chiefs do win. And yeah, I think some of the chat is a little pessimistic, Luker, but also when you are used to seeing the Chiefs win 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever games a year, make 3 straight Super Bowls, the bar is just really high, whether that's spoiled talk or not. When you're in the midst of a dynasty, and again, I'm trying to say this humbly, I'm not being braggadocious, but it's just when you're winning all these games, making it to all the playoff spots, all the AFC championships, the Super Bowls, the expectation is what Mahomes said before this season or before last season when they talked to him on the documentary, the Kingdom documentary. What do you consider success this year? Mahomes, without skipping a beat, Super Bowl, win. What do you consider a failure this year? Anything other than a Super Bowl win. So yeah, just expectations are high. And we just don't want to see, and this is kind of where fans are getting at, I think they don't want to see the prime years of Patrick Mahomes go to waste because of a lack of talent and skilled players around him. Oh, Cole, I thought you said Mahomes can elevate anybody around him and make it happen. Yeah, and he's done that. They just made it to 3 Super Bowls in a row without Tyreek Hill. They have done it, but at some point, this man needs some help. We just watched the Eagles win with the best O-line in football, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Like, sometimes your guy needs some weapons. It's not that insane to say that. So, yeah, sometimes they need a little bit of weapons. And they just don't have anything right now because wide receiver 1 and 2 are injured. You have Hollywood Brown. I just don't know that I think he might still be working through the foot thing and knocking off a little bit of rust, and that's okay. But he was supposed to be your wide receiver 3-ish, depending on the package. Well, instead, he's your primary wide receiver right now. Ross with the 5 said, what other offensive coordinator would you bring in for new ideas instead of Eric Bieniemy? I'm just of the mindset of trying to get out of Andy Reid's tree, which he doesn't like to do, and just bringing in somebody that has just new ideas. It could be, maybe I'm kind of walking back on this one, but what about bringing Mike Kafka back if he gets let go from the Giants? He's I think their pass game coordinator over there. What about Mike McDaniel? The problem I'm having with who is the next OC is A lot of these offensive coordinators aren't going to want to come to Kansas City unless it's behind doors and they're saying, hey, Andy Reid has 3 more years left. We want you to be the OC and succeed him. Take over when he retires. A lot of guys aren't going to have any interest in coming to this team to be the offensive coordinator to do this on the sideline. Have the book out. Andy Reid goes corn dog in their ear. He says corn dog. Well, they know that's a code word for a full offensive play on the call sheet. They locate the full play and then read it to Mahomes. Any actual offensive-minded guy that wants to call plays for an offense, they're going to want to go to a defensive-minded head coach that will give them authority to call plays and to run the offense. If Andy Reid, which he does, runs the offense, why would some of these other offensive coordinators want to come in here and just do whatever Andy Reid said? Unless they said, hey, Andy Reid's done in 3 years. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just saying it's going to be hard to get some of these other guys in here that I would have interest in. Tanner with the 2. Chiefs have scored 30-plus once in the last 30 games. Yeah, and the one time they did, well, if it's the last 30 games, it's crazy. But the one time they did was in the Bills game, and it was just enough to win it. So sometimes all you need is enough to win the game. But yeah, you traded away Tyreek Hill. The defense has made some adjustments. You haven't really had a dynamic playmaker in the backfield. You've rotated left tackles. I saw somewhere that Patrick Mahomes has had I have to find it. It was something insane, like 10 or 11. Let me see if I can find the stat. I want to find it because I saw it today, and I think, oh, yeah, right here. Look at this. Patrick Mahomes has had 11 different starting left tackles since becoming the Chiefs starter in 2018. 11 different starting left tackles, guys. The only player with more over that span is Baker Mayfield, who had one more, 12, and he's played for 4 different teams. That is insane. That is mind-numbingly dumb. But it's not sometimes for the team's lack of trying. You swung big on Orlando Brown Jr. It didn't work out long-term. But sometimes what they've done, what this offense has done, has just been Mahomes making it work with some of the pieces that they have that another quarterback in this system wouldn't even get to 500 in, or wouldn't win the West or get to the playoffs in. So, yeah, the defense, or the offense rather, hasn't been as high-powered. It's been a little bit more defensive-driven and just kind of saying, hey, let's make the game close. Let's get near the end of the game, and then let's just turn the nitrous on. Like Fast and the Furious, you hit the NOS at the end of the race to pull ahead. Like, let's just turn up a little bit here in these crucial situations, and it's not always pretty. I get it, but they've won a lot of these games, scoring just enough to win it. It's not always pretty. Trade with the Raiders for who? Brock Bowers. They would never give him up. What's up, Glow King? School said Mahomes is the main problem. All right. Next question. Should have picked up Jordan Mason instead of Mitchell. Yeah, you would have had to trade for him because he was with the Niners, and then the Vikings extended him to a 2-year, $10 million deal or whatever it was. But yeah, I thought Jordan Mason looks really good. That wasn't an unrealistic trade to make for him. It was not. Here's a stat for you. Okay, let me read this. Here's a stat for you. Mahomes' win rate when play action passes above 17% is 65 to 80%, but when play action is below, his win rate drops to 35 to 50%. That's interesting. I don't even feel like they run a lot of play action. Is RPOs in the play action category? I would assume so. We are kind of all for, probably everybody in here, more play action passes, even from under center, but not only just play action from under center, just more plays. More run plays from under center. Make that believable. If you run 90% of your plays out of shotgun and 10 plays under center, but 8 out of 10 times you run a play from under center as play action rollout, the defense, I'm not saying that's what the stats are, but the defense is never going to bite on that. They're like, yeah, this is a pass. And then even if it is a run, who are they scared of? I'm not trying to be ultra disrespectful here, guys, but who are they afraid of back there? The answer is nobody. They're not afraid of an explosive run. They might have healthy respect for Kareem Hunt on a short yardage situation because he's going to make a miss and get the few yards needed. But they're not worried about a Chiefs running back breaking off a 20-plus yard run. They've done that less than almost anybody in the NFL over the last season and 2 games. Why are handoffs holding the ball out at arm's length so the entire defense can see what's happening instead of something like Lamar does when you don't know which way the ball goes? Yeah, I don't know. You can't compare how the Chiefs run the ball to the Ravens at all, because I would argue that the Ravens are a run-first team, and yeah, they're probably one of the best teams in the NFL at doing it, also because of the threat of Lamar Jackson. But great question. I don't know. I think the Chiefs could use a revamped plan in the run game. And maybe that's why some people are saying, Cole, that's why Eric Bieniemy should come back. Well, he's not coming back this season unless the Bears fire him. He's the running backs coach for the Chicago Bears right now. Pop had some flashes in the preseason. Hopefully he can find a way to correct it. I think some of Pop's speed is back. But his vision, you can't really teach vision and instinct in real time when the play is happening under the bright lights. That's where he's lacking. That's part of the reason why he was a 7th-round pick. If I say Pacheco has his weaknesses and nobody's truly feared back there, it's not really a diss to Pacheco. He was a 7th-round pick. He has his limitations. He's outperformed his draft stock times 5. We all know that. But he's still not a dynamic, true dual threat back there that teams fear. He's got the speed and the burst, and if he can get into open field, he can make you pay a little bit. But yeah, I don't know that there's an answer there. I mean, maybe you see some from Elijah Mitchell, but he's been your healthy scratch, reportedly lacked the burst and speed that the Chiefs are hoping for. Maybe Brashard Smith could have a little bit more work into this offense. If you're going to motion Pacheco out wide, which they did on the Mahomes scramble, the Mahomes scramble for the touchdown up the right side, if you're going to motion Pacheco for a pass play, and you know it's going to be a pass play, and maybe that's part of the problem, it's Mahomes can check to a run play at almost any time, and maybe they're just not quite ready for it to be Brashard Smith. But if it's a pass play and you're going to motion a running back out wide, put Brashard Smith out there, the wide receiver turned running back that could actually make you pay in the pass game and be another legitimate receiver for you. But he played like 5 snaps last week and something like that, maybe 8 snaps. That might be a little high week 1. Darrell with the 2. What about doing a trade with the Raiders? Well, for who? I don't think any team's trading this early, and they probably won't until closer to the deadline, and they don't really like to trade within the division. You'll pay a premium price for it, but who are you trading for? Who would you trade for? Matt with the 5. What age do you think Mahomes plays till, and does he retire a Chief? Hope he retires a Chief. Hopefully he's 30 or turns 30 tomorrow. Another solid 6 to 8 years. He could retire tomorrow a Hall of Famer and top 5, top 3 all-time quarterback to ever do it, which is insane. Still got time under his contract. They're probably going to extend him, and as long as he stays healthy, 36, 38, I don't think he plays until 42, 43, or however old Brady was, but you never know. I hope he retires a Chief, but that's a long way from now, and hopefully it's a worry for a long time from now. James with the 10 bomb. What's up? Or Jones, sorry, I don't know why I said James. What's up, Jones? Thank you, man. Jawan Taylor never learns. He always false starts and is allowing more pressures now. He's hurting the team, so why not try more at right tackle or someone else? Yeah, I think Jawan Taylor's on a short leash, and Jalen Moore would be the next man up, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens at some point this season. How many flags did he have last game? Maybe 1? I think 1, but he had 4 the week before. I kind of said, hey, if he has more than 2 penalties in a game again soon, you kind of have to swap somebody out because he's just a net negative. Even if he's a serviceable, above average pass protector, when not drawing flags, when the offense, I feel like a broken record when I say this, but I just mean it. When the offense is down all these their firepower and you have to grind out all these yards, a holding penalty can completely derail that drive. I mean, there are times when 10 yards, they can't even get 10 yards because it's just too much to do. If I call a timeout, will the Chiefs have a chance to get a win? Sure. Maybe. How about Mahomes' old college coach, Kingsbury? Right? Cliff? Sure. I don't know who Andy Reid would be open to, but I think you need somebody fresh in there, man. Somebody fresh to infuse some new ideas. Even if Andy's still going to run the offense and call the plays, like just bring somebody else in there. Yeah, Jones, thank you so much for the 10, man. He had one holding call, and it wasn't really his fault. Mahomes stepped up in the pocket. I'm kind of done with the Jawan Taylor, if it's his fault or not. Just stop the flags, dude. I'm done. Just done. He's the most flagged offensive tackle in the NFL over the last 3 years. You either don't draw flags, or if you draw more than 2 or 3 in a game again, just please sit on the bench, respectfully. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. Whether it's right or wrong, Cole, that sounds harsh. Okay, maybe I'm just being a little harsh. But at the end of the day, I don't have say. So maybe the coaching staff will be more forgivable, and you're right, they'll look at the film and be like, well, Mahomes stepped up or did that, and so, okay, but my patience is running out. Dolphins head coach about to be available. Yeah, we talked about that. Cliff Kingsbury would be perfect. Someone who has balls, an air raid minded OC is what we need. If we aren't going to get a legit running back, well, hopefully you air it out a little bit more again down the road here, and you have a dynamic running back. You can do both. It would actually only help the pass game. Do you think there's a chance still for a Tyreek Hill trade? Maybe. I don't think that the Dolphins want to move on from him just yet. But here's my thing. If Worthy comes back and Rice comes back, I don't know that you go get him. I think you trade for a running back. Again, this is me. This is me speaking. But if it would be different if Worthy needed season-ending injury or season-ending surgery. It was a season-ending injury, and then you brought in Hill and you just risked it a little bit. I would understand. I just don't know. And he's got the off-the-field stuff, the allegations that the NFL is looking into from his ex-wife. Not a lot of it's ideal there. He won't need any more starting tackles. Josh Simmons is working out good. Yeah, that's a big positive of the offense. I think I was going to get there about Josh Simmons, and then I didn't. Just looking for my dog for a second. She's good. Josh Simmons is one of the bright spots of this offense, and yeah, as long as he stays healthy, and that's the hope, we're knocking on wood and all that stuff, he'll be your left tackle for years to come, which is something Mahomes hasn't had. Stability at the left tackle spot. I read that left tackle stat earlier, and then I didn't really circle back to the fact that, yeah, but they now have Josh Simmons in the first round. What's the word on Christian Wilkins? No idea. No, I haven't heard anything. Will Xavier Worthy practice tomorrow? I think so. He practiced last week. The question is he a full go? How does he look? Is he limited? Is he getting full work in teams? I think he's projected to play this Sunday based on, I think he wanted to play last week, to be honest with you. Projected record for the season, Mahomes stat projection, and any trade acquisitions you'd like. Well, Matt, thanks for the 5, man. I'm still of the mindset that the Chiefs win around 13 games. I said I could see 12, I could see 14, and this was before the season started and before they started out 0-2. Mahomes stat projection, I mean, at this rate with Worthy, Rice not returning, I don't know, man. Anything around 4,000 yards, give me 30 passing TDs and 10 or less interceptions and I'm happy. Is that super unrealistic? Maybe. But at this point, it's just get some freaking wins. Please. Any trade acquisitions? Is there any running back on the last year of their deal for a team here in a few weeks that's just hasn't won a game, that want to part ways? There's running backs that I like, but I don't know if they'll part ways with them. Breece Hall, if the Jets start losing more games. I love both of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running backs, but Tampa Bay is making the playoffs. Baker Mayfield looks freaking insane. He looks awesome out there. So happy for Baker to get out of Cleveland and have that resurgence in Tampa. It's really cool to see. I'm sure there's some other running backs that I could think about, but nothing immediately is coming to mind here. I saw some Chiefs fans online mad that the Vikings signed Cam Akers and Brett Veach didn't. He's not good, okay? He's not good. So just because somebody signs another player doesn't mean that the Chiefs should have signed that guy. All right? He's not good. Jennifer, thanks so much for the 1587. Appreciate the heck out of you. Thanks always for holding it down in the live streams too. Maddie with the 10. What's up with our D linemen not getting enough pressure? Kind of concerning, knowing that we have to blitz more to add pressure because 4 linemen just can't get the job done. I agree with you, Maddie. I think if I look at the defense, that's one of the most concerning aspects about it. And maybe the reality is Chris Jones is just not in the upper echelon, better than everybody else every single play kind of a guy. He's starting to get a little bit older. So if you notice any kind of a decrease in Chris Jones' play, even if he's still one of the best, if not the best defensive tackle in the league, if that level comes down a little bit, remember, Chris Jones has just always been that guy and demanded so much attention or was still winning some of these double teams at a freakishly high level. And I haven't looked into the advanced metrics. I think he might have taken a small step back. But then you're just not getting enough out of some of your other guys. You paid George Karlaftis quite a bit of money. Haven't seen too much from him yet. Mike Dana's now hurt with a hip injury only after playing 3 plays. Minihue goes on rants on social media saying he's still got it and people are going to eat their words. And okay, well, let's see it. I would like to see a little bit more from a lot of these guys. I liked Omar Norman Lott with the sack. That was cool. I want to see a little bit more from Ashton Gelati. We can't overreact from 2 games, and we really need to give them a couple more. And hey, maybe a Minihue will have a nuclear day on Sunday Night Football against the Giants. Ashton Gelati gets a few more reps. George Karlaftis has a good day. It's only a small sample size right now, but I understand the concern because I'm kind of right there with you. If the D-line can't get pressure, it puts strain on everything else. And I did stick up for the D-line a little bit last year. I said, hey, I think we saw a decline in the D-line's ability to get home to the quarterback because the coverage regressed because Jalen Watson got injured. They traded away Snead. Well, now the coverage, we'll see. I don't think it's worse than last year. It should be better in theory. Jalen Watson's looking pretty decent out there. You've got McDuffie still. Fulton banged up his ankle, so I don't know. He's barely played, which is unfortunate because you signed him to a 2-year, $20 million deal. But I think the coverage is doing a little bit better. So the D-line just kind of has to step up. I just got to. Matt with the 5. I love Kelce and CJ, but they eat up like $50 million per year in cap. Is it time to turn the page, move on to the next chapter? You literally can't move on from Chris Jones's contract based on how it's structured. I don't think it's time to move on from him. I still think he's a very high-level player. Kelce's on the last year of his deal. We'll see what happens after this year. I think Kelce is fine in how he's looked out there. He's had a couple of mistakes and errors that have been costly. So I'm not going to ignore that. I'm not going to pretend like those haven't happened. But he looks better than last year. He's moving around better than last year. He's quick. He's getting open. The problem is people are saying, well, why isn't he getting targeted more and having more stats? Well, you don't have anybody else out there. So Kelce is still a lot of times getting blanketed. And they're bracketing him or trying to take him away, trying to take him out of the game plan because you have no Royals, you have no Rice, and you have no Worthy. You have Kelce, Thornton, who's been winning deep, Juju, and Hollywood Brown. So, yeah, it's been just tough sledding in general. We'll see about Kelce next year. I have no idea. Chris Jones, it is a big contract. That one might hurt a little bit, but I still think he is, like, if you watched him last week, he looked pretty good out there on a lot of plays and was really good against the run. You just need some other guys to kind of step up around them as well. Bucky Irving would be awesome, but won't happen. Yeah, I know. Even Rashad White. He's from Kansas City. Brand with the 5 gifted. Let's go. Thank you, Brand. Appreciate you, man. Thornton is heating up. I'm liking the progress he's making. Yeah, I agree with you. Expecting too much from the same players only. Not good football. Your backup should be as good as the starters. I think I understand what you're saying. I think you're saying, hey, you should have really good depth pieces and they should be able to come in and step up and be serviceable. But starters are starters for a reason. And your all-stars are even a step above that for a reason. Chris Jones, Kelce, Mahomes. I'm probably missing somebody. McDuffie. Maybe Rice. I don't know that you put him in the all-star category, but he's looking incredible when he's actually out there, not injured or suspended. So you go into training camp with your game plan being around a couple guys, they're hurt, and you're still just going through growing pains and trying to adjust to that, and the talent level drops off. Sure, you need as great as of depth pieces as you possibly can, but the ceiling's not as high. There's nothing we can do to some extent with you've got no Worthy, you've got no Rice, but you have some other guys. Yeah, like maybe the floor should be pretty high, but the ceiling's not as high. Nobody's running around like Worthy out there. Thornton has the speed, but can't run routes like Worthy. You can't put anybody in the slot like Rice right now and win at that level and get the yards after catch. You just can't. So I would love for everybody to be the same talent level on the team, no matter if it's wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 7. It's just unfortunately not the case. Brad with the 10 bomb. The long ball is like anything else. Takes time, takes practice in game conditions, in game situations. I'm encouraged he's taken the shot more this year than he has the past couple of years. Yeah, that's part of it. I think some people they're concerned about Mahomes' deep ball because when he throws them, he misses sometimes. It's like, dude, I think he's thrown sometimes the least amount of deep passes of any quarterback in the NFL, or he's like bottom 3. You could throw it in practice all you want, but in real game situations with the pass rush coming after you, trying to take your head off, crowd screaming, bright lights, running full speed routes, you just got to throw more. And I want to see it. I do want to see that more. And I think they are trying. The lack of some of the receivers has affected that. The lack of an explosive run game. I think it should force Mahomes to be aggressive a little bit to open up the middle of the field because there's no threat in some of those ways. But if you hit a couple deep bombs to Tyquan Thornton or get this close, the defense says, whoa, they're going to hit on that in this game. And we have to respect it enough. Then it'll open up some other things for sure. Soccer fan in the house with the 5 bomb. If we lose against the Giants, oh, God bless, what are some changes you're expecting with the team and coaching staff since 0-3 is unacceptable? Whew. I don't even want to think about it. I don't think the Chiefs lose this game. But yeah, if the Chiefs lose, you go against the Ravens 0-3. I mean, it's going to be bad. It's going to be ugly. I don't know what major changes are going to be made because you're still waiting on Rice to come back. Hopefully, you make some minor changes in the running back room. You could try to make a trade for somebody. The problem is most of these teams aren't giving up players unless you're giving away a bunch of draft capital before the trade deadline if they think they still have a chance at the playoffs. So some changes you would be expecting. Yeah, I don't know. It would be very unfamiliar territory. I think the Chiefs end up winning this game. But if that happens, it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys respond, how the coaching staff responds, what changes are made. I don't... Like, what are you going to do? Fire Nagy? Andy Reid calls the plays. You going to fire Andy Reid? No, not doing that either. So it's like, I don't really know. What are you going to do? Maybe you could try to make a move for somebody, but it's going to take them time to get acclimated. So the ideal scenario is they win on Sunday, and we don't have to worry about it. Hopefully, please. I'm still waiting on your blooper reel in Discord. Oh, I've had some good bloopers recently, Darrell. Thank you for the 2-bomb. I've had some good ones. Am I getting worried? No. I think if you watched my video yesterday, that's pretty much how I am. It's unfortunate. It puts more pressure on the team to start out 0-2, but the Ravens started out 0-2 last year. The Broncos started out 0-2 last year. They both climbed out of it. They both made the playoffs. I'm not worried about winning the West or any of that stuff right now. Just worried about getting a win on Sunday, and they played two very good teams in the Chargers and the Eagles, and they were close. You want to talk about a team that's dysfunctional and disgusting to watch? Did you guys watch? I'm not trying to be ultra disrespectful here, but did you watch the Raiders and Chargers game? I mean, that was awful. Geno Smith threw 3 picks. They didn't get into the end zone once. Geno was throwing the ball away on 4th down, making awful mistakes. They have no line. Ashton Genty can't get the run going, and they drafted him, 6th overall? That's dysfunction. The Chiefs aren't even in the same stratosphere as that. I understand they're 0-2, but they were winnable games down several key pieces, and they kept it close. So there's levels to concern is all that I'm saying. There's levels to despair. Not there yet. Not ultra concerned, but the pressure is higher. The heat is getting turned up on the stove a little bit. The water's not boiling yet, but it's starting to warm up. Yeah, starting to warm up. We will make the wild card for show. That's the hope, Johnny. At least that. At least that. Crimson. Cole toes the line of fan and realistic objective better than anyone doing Chiefs content. Not a hot take machine, which is appreciated. Oh, thanks, man. I do try to look as evenly keeled as I can. But I just also know, like, what is a hot take going to serve? I don't know that it's really going to serve anybody. And I don't think it. I don't think most of the people that do hot takes believe it. And that's what frustrates me. The pundits on media, ESPN, some of those guys that they're force-fed these talking points that they don't even believe, but they're paid so much money. They're just like, yeah, I'll talk about that. Sure. It's inauthentic and it's not real. So I've always tried, as the channel has progressed, I still have fun, troll around sometimes, but I try to be objective and kind of call it like I see it without being over the top. And some people still think I'm a bit over the top. No, that's not everybody. But you have to call out stuff that you see. It's not all rainbows over here. The team's 0-2. There have been struggles. They got blown out in the Super Bowl 59. So they're not perfect. They're working through growing pains and trying to dissect through all that and give it to you straight without being panicky, but also presenting concerns. I'm trying to walk that line for sure. Noel Williams can be a Snead 2.0. He's looking very promising, said Raw. With the 5-bomb, also we need more safety depth. I thought the safety play looked good. I thought Chamari Connor had a bounce-back game. Brian Cook looked pretty good out there. I didn't really have any concerns with the safety play, but if they wanted to add in some more safety depth, then I get it. But I'm more worried about D-line and running back would probably be like my 2, but safety would probably be my 3rd. If they're going to make a move, guys, I think they do need to add some pass rush help. I don't know who you're going to get, but maybe you're still like, well, we want to see what we have in Ashton Gelati. We want to see if Minihue can take that step up. Mike Dana's injured, yeah, so now who else can do something? But you have Janarius Robinson on IR, FAU on IR, Mike Dana injured. So I do think you need to add some pass rush help here sooner rather than later, but who are you going to add? Zadarius Smith is gone. He just signed with... Well, there's Zadarius Smith and Jadeveon Clowney. They both just signed, and one of them was with the Eagles, one of them was with the Cowboys, and I can't remember who signed where. I think Clowney was with the Cowboys. Zadarius Smith actually didn't he just play against the Chiefs? I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, there's not a lot to choose from at this point in time. Flip with the 5. Very hypothetically, would you trade Chris Jones for Tyreek? No, because that would derail your defense, and the defense is too reliant on Chris Jones right now. I don't think he's tradable at this point in time. If you trade Chris Jones, you are never getting pressure on the quarterback, and you're losing almost every game this year. That might be a little dramatic, but it's like trading away Micah Parsons. Look at the Cowboys right now. I think they did win a game against the Giants, but that defense is bad. No bueno. And they're kind of built around. They built that defense a bit around Chris Jones. He's kind of your centerpiece there. Bring back the shark from the couch. That would be insane. How do you feel about the Bengals? I feel bad, man. Obviously, I'm not a Bengals fan. I don't care if they win or lose or anything like that. But just to see Burrow go down, it would be the same if Josh Allen or really any quarterback, whether it's AFC or NFC, shoot, even like Herbert in our own division. The product of the NFL is at its best when the best players are able to walk out on the field and play the game. Do you think football fans want to watch Jake Browning against Carson Wentz next week or this week? No? Do you? No? Well, that's what's happening because J.J. McCarthy's out with an ankle injury and Burrow's out with the toe. And Carson Wentz, in case you didn't know, recently signed with the Vikings. So you're going to see Jake Browning against Carson Wentz. Who the wants to see that? Nobody. So yeah, I hate injuries. It sucks. It's worse. It's a worse product for the NFL. And just more than that, it's people. These are people that are hurt. They're going through another surgery, another rehab. I've had 4 surgeries myself. Rehab sucks. It really messes with your mental. You're used to being able to do this, do that. I trained in Taekwondo for 12 years. I could do a backflip. I could front flip off the roof. And now, dude, I'm just like trying to walk up the stairs. I'm like, okay, I can make it. I can make it up the stairs. So yeah, there's just something that whole process does to you and your mental. At the end of the day, yes, we want our teams to win. Yes, we want ABC player to ball out so our pick'ems hit or this hits or our fantasy team wins, but they're also just people at the end of the day. Marcus with the 19 months. Cole and Code, thanks for the effort you put into all the channels and videos. Appreciate it greatly. Heck yeah, man. Thank you. Marcus with the 19 months. Yeah, Jameis. Hey, maybe the Vikings, the Bengals make a move for famous Jameis. If he's QB3 on your depth chart for the Giants, and then you've got Russell, Let's Ride Wilson, and Jackson Dart, maybe they make a trade. That'd be kind of fun. I'm hoping injuries hit other teams besides the Chiefs. Well, I just don't want injuries to hit anybody, man. I never wish for injury, want injury, or anything like that. It's always unfortunate. I've even had some people during a game, like I'm calling a game and I get upset that another player gets injured. And some people are like, Cole, what are you, a Bills fan? No, dude, I'm a human being that has compassion for players that put their heart, mind, body, and soul into this game that they love, and it gets taken away from them by a fluke, freak accident, injury, and they're out for the season. Rice is a perfect example, but that's a Chiefs player. So like I'm always gutted for them, but I'm also gutted for other players too. The longer I look at, consume, study NFL content, and this is my job, I just have more, I think, compassion. I can't relate because I didn't play football, but I have, is it more empathy, sympathy, whichever it is for these guys, because injuries suck, man. Mike with the 28 months. What's up, dude? Thanks for the 28 months. Hope all is well. Never want to say a 3-week win is a must win, but this is the case. The schedule after that, it's brutal, and 0-3 would put the Chiefs in a really bad way. Yeah, I think even at 0-3, the Chiefs could make the playoffs, but God, dude, that would not be ideal in any sense of the imagination, any stretch of the imagination. It would be not worst case scenario, but you're getting close. You're getting close. Empathy. Short, it's called not being a person. There you go. That's it. Patrick Mahomes is back in the Fortnite shop. Oh, nice, Kit Kat. There you go. I will play running back for $250 a year. Problem is I'm 40 and shouldn't expect much. $250 or $250K? What do you think of the free 4 shirts? Seems like some fans weren't a fan of it. Yeah, so to be honest with you, when I initially saw it, I just thought, oh, it was just kind of their way of being like, hey, Rice, miss ya. hope you're well. We're thinking of you. Kind of like a nod to him, and he would like see the shirts from home because he can't be there and like, oh, thank you, man. But yeah, I understand then some of the other Chiefs fans, maybe the older Chiefs fans, like the younger Chiefs fans are all like, oh yeah, free 4. Like, can't wait to have him back. I saw it was more like kind of older Chiefs fans. I don't know where the line is. Okay. So I'm averaging it here, but the optics I could see didn't look great because they're like, oh, they're saying that Rice is unjustifiably suspended and shouldn't be in trouble and going through what he's going through, but he made poor choices and wrecked the car and fled the scene. I don't really think that's what they meant, but I guess I could see how some people got to that conclusion. So I don't know. I have mixed opinions on it, I guess. Maybe it should have been a shirt that didn't say free 4, but it still had Rashee Rice on there and it could have shown support. But you know what? That's what they chose to do. I know like the KC Star and other media outlets that wrote about it, they were not fans at all. But I did ask some of the younger Chiefs fans, because it was a lot of the younger Chiefs fans on Twitter. They're like, no, we get it. And so I said, well, what does that mean to you? Because I'm like, I'm not young anymore. I'm not old, but I'm 34. I feel like I'm caught in between the young heads and the old heads, and I sometimes can relate to all of them. Well, they're saying I took it as nothing more than them wanting him back on the team, not free him from jail or consequences or anything like that. So I think that's what they meant. I think this is what they meant. And you got to remember, a lot of these guys, they're young. On the roster, young. Kelce is not, per se. He's my age, actually a year older, which is crazy to think about. But I think that's what they meant. But I could understand how people got to the conclusions that they did based on the circumstances and how the optics don't look the best. I understand that was probably like a middle ground answer, but I was really just trying to see like, okay, well, why would they wear these shirts? What are they thinking? Because it seemed like a lot of the younger Chiefs fans were like, nah, we get it. And then it was maybe Chiefs fans are a little bit older. They're like, well, that is a really bad look. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Maybe if they could go back, they wouldn't have. But I still think the heart behind what they were doing wasn't like, oh, free Rice, he shouldn't be in trouble, he shouldn't have consequences. It's just more like, hey, man, thinking of you, can't wait to have you back. I don't know. And maybe my answer fell short to some of you guys. But that's just kind of where I'm at with it right now. I wish we had Willie Gay back. Yeah, I think the linebacker room's probably okay, but I do like Willie Gay. Yeah. It's a shirt, who cares, said Zinks. They're reaching. Tell us more about the flips. Yeah, I used to train in Taekwondo. I did like extreme martial arts, used to tumble. I've played videos on here before. I could link something. Do I have anything, mods, that we could exclamation point for Nightbot that has some of my old martial arts stuff? Every Tribe Coffee, they have about as much of a chance to be successful as WNBA players wearing t-shirts asking for more money. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. They weren't being literal. I knew that. They weren't being literal, like, free Rice, get him out of the suspension. No, that's not what I took it as at all. Why haven't they given Brashard Smith Pacheco's spot? Rookie, 1 year of running back under his belt, and I think you're still working him into the offense. I think that his lack of experience in pass pro is probably a concern too. Going to the game to watch it in person. Ooh, what are your thoughts on this matchup? I don't have like full preview thoughts yet. I'm actually still just watching through the Giants game. But the Chiefs are 5.5 point favorites for a reason, even down the weapons that they are. I think they should be able to come into this game and win. Now, I believe the Giants, I don't know if it was Mitch Holthus or who said that, but I don't think the Chiefs have beat the Giants on the road before. I don't know if that's in the Mahomes era. I don't know if that's in the Andy Reid era. Does anybody know that stat off the top of your head? Somebody said, actually it was Mitch Holthus. Well, I'm just going to go to Mitch's account because he doesn't tweet that much. See if I can find him real quick. Mitch Holthus, here we go. He said that the Giants are the only team the Chiefs have never beaten on the road. So I guess that's ever in history, which is pretty crazy. I think the Chiefs can win this game. I'm not fully there in my thoughts, but I think it's winnable. They're a much easier opponent compared to the Chargers or the Eagles. And if there's any Giants fans in here, I don't think you would take that as disrespectful for me to say that, because I think you're probably pretty objective about your team after all the years of disappointment. Now, it's any given Sunday. You can't come out there and not execute, throw a pick in the end zone that was bobbled up, and that turns into an INT that the Giants turn into a touchdown. I just don't think the Chiefs have the firepower to hang 35, 40 points on the Giants. Watch me be wrong and they do it, but you're just down multiple weapons. You don't really have a dynamic run game, and you're going to have to kind of grit it out with long drives, and the defense is going to have to kind of step up. But I think you probably win this game by 7, maybe 10. But we've seen the Chiefs go into games before that you're like, yeah, they should absolutely kick this team's teeth in. And it's 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs are trailing by 4, and Mahomes has to orchestrate a game-winning drive to get it done. And they do it a lot of times, but I can still see that playing out. Can be stressful. So used to turning it on when needed that they're in a fog right now. Yeah, Corey, that's probably good. That's a good way to look at it. Jones with the 2. Concerned about Butker's performance. I'm not overly concerned because it is a small sample size, but yeah, the missed extra point is unfortunate. Don't love to see that. But then it's compounded with the missed 58-yarder the next week. 58-yarder is not a chip shot, but Harrison Butker didn't barely miss that field goal. I mean, if these are the uprights, trying to do this. The football was over here. It was right side. The football was way over here. It's one of the worst misses I've ever seen. So there's some minor concern. I'm not overly concerned yet. I am going to wait a little bit on that one. Xavier with a 35 months. Good evening, GOAT. Yeah, good to see you, man. Not worried about the Chiefs yet. I think we turn it on, and people need to chill out being so spoiled. Also, Flip, how you get the new badge? Did I miss a month in the membership? Wait, what badge? We got more badges? You're at the 35-month mark. Is there a 3-year? There might be a 3-year one, 36 months maybe. Maybe. Yeah, the Chiefs are in a spot they haven't been in. The Chiefs haven't been 0-2 in the Mahomes era and haven't been 0-2 since Andy Reid had the team in 2014. He came in 2013, but the next year after that, rather, they started 0-2. So it's unfamiliar territory. You're struggling. You're going through growing pains, but you did lose to 2 good teams in games that were winnable if you executed at a slightly higher level. So the sky isn't falling yet. That's for sure. I don't like bringing this up because I hate injuries, but think of like the Bengals or something like that. They're 2-0, but they don't have Burrow for minimum 3 months. That is, in my eyes, like worst case scenario. The sky is big. 2-0 compared to the Chiefs being 0-2, but what are you doing there without Burrow? That is extremely unfortunate. Chiefs fan from SoCal in the house with the 10 bomb. Mahomes is fine. One improvement is throw the ball closer to receiver's body, leads them hoping for maximum yardage. Kelce's short missed touchdown catches, as an example, ensure the ball is caught. Thoughts? Okay, let me look at that one for a second. I think some of the deep balls he is overthrowing. I don't know if that's partially because he's used to Worthy just zipping down there. Thornton's still fast. Maybe he's still spoiled from Tyreek Hill days, but it's been 3 years or whatever it's been now. This is the 4th year since Tyreek Hill got traded at the 2022 season, 2023, 2024, 2025. So I don't know if that's it. I will kind of push back on the back part of that. Mahomes even said like, oh, he should have thrown that ball closer to Kelce's body. I don't know, man. I watched that play a bunch. Kelce just should have caught that pass. Could it have been a little closer? I mean, I guess. But he's not perfect, Mahomes, but there are times where he's right on the money. There are times where he's just like a little bit off, but you are paid a lot of money. You are paid a lot of money to reel in these passes. And I think that was absolutely a catchable ball for Kelce. Just so you know, YouTube says it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, so let me know if you're getting choppy, but it looks okay, I think. But still. Yeah, I don't know. Mahomes could probably be better in some ways. I think he's still doing a great job in other ways. And if you really just want to breathe a sigh of relief, just go watch some other teams play some football, because there's a lot of ugly football. Again, I know our standard is here. Oh, connection's good. Okay. I know the standard is here for the Chiefs because of the success and stuff like that, but I'm not overly concerned about Mahomes at this point in time. Would a guy like Rachaad White be realistic? No, but I do like Rachaad White. I don't think you're moving on if you are the Bucs from any of your running backs right now. I get it, but you don't want to call out teammates and coaches, but maybe that's what they need to do. I think they handle stuff internally more than we would ever know. I guarantee, like, who was it that said that they were just laying into him? Maybe it was it an EB story? So maybe that guy's not in the building anymore. I'm trying to think. I just think behind the scenes. No, maybe it was Mahomes calling out people. I guarantee you behind the scenes he's lighting fire. And you remember that mic'd up clip when Rashee Rice said something about like he was open and Mahomes went there and screamed at Rice on the sideline and kept calling him an MFer? He's like, he rolled the ball to me, motherfucker. He rolled the ball. And he's like screaming at him. It was a play that it was in the Super Bowl, maybe, or a playoff game where Creed like rolled him the ball. It was a low snap. And so I think Mahomes and those guys are definitely getting into each other. But I think team culture, at least in the Chiefs building, is it's ultimate disrespect to throw another player under the bus to the media. Handle it in-house, hold each other accountable, and then go out there and execute on the field. This isn't this isn't a great comparison here, but it's almost, I think some players would view that as like screenshotting a private like text message and making it public, in the sense of like airing out laundry that you would normally handle in-house to the media and to the public so everybody can run with that. I just don't think that's how they operate. So Mahomes is going to take accountability, say that's on me. Andy Reid's going to take accountability, say that's on me. I could have called a better play. I could have done this better. I could have drew it up better for the guys so it didn't have to chance even being intercepted at all. Kelce's going to get on his podcast tomorrow and say that is completely on me. They're all going to take accountability, but they are going to handle it as well in-house. In the last Super Bowl, he had no left tackle. Yeah. Surprised they went with, it wasn't even the last Super Bowl. I think it was the Super Bowl before that I was talking about. Surprised they went with Creed instead of Tooney. At least Tooney could give him a few seconds in the pocket. Creed instead of Tooney? Do you mean Caliendo? I don't know who you're talking about. They went through so many left tackles over there. Alvin Kamara, that's an option, potentially, if the Saints keep losing. Joe Tooney getting work in Chicago? Yeah. I mean, he's playing. They extended him, too, to a contract. Really going to be watching Omar Norman-Lott on Sunday night? Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, Omar Norman-Lott had his NFL debut last week and got his sack on Hurts, which was cool. It was a crazy sack. It was like Goldberg style. He turned around, let him low. Every catch doesn't need to be a highlight reel catch. Hit him in the numbers where he is open on that one. Well, that one is supposed to be low. If you're talking about the throw to Kelce, and they kind of broke it down, you wanted to go low a little bit because of the other defensive back in coverage potentially coming and crashing down. It's supposed to limit the chances of an interception happening, but it kind of got batted up. But again, if you ask Mahomes, he said he could have put it on him a little bit closer to him. So I think Kelce is one of the best tight ends to ever play the game. He's making a lot of money. He's made that catch a million times, and he just needs to reel it in. I think it was close enough where whether you would agree fully or disagree with me, I'm just going to put that on Kelce. He needs to reel that one in. Now, there's other throws for sure that I'm like, yeah, Mahomes could have thrown a better ball, but like Kelce catches that one 9.9 out of 10 times. Cole, when will we see Royals? I don't know. Sometime soon, I hope, man. Don't know. because he's the only one that is a bit of an unknown here. I think we see Worthy before Royals, which is unfortunate because I said at the beginning of the stream, I think that was a plan during Rice's suspension to use Royals in some of the Rice role, for sure. Cole, what about Kyle Pitts trade? I mean, I'm not opposed to some moves for sure. I don't know that they need a tight end. If they trade for somebody, it needs to be for a running back or a defensive end. I don't think it would be for a receiver, especially with Rice coming back, but shoot, guess you never know. What do you expect from Royals this year? I don't know. I need him out on the field to see how he's going to do, but they need to let that knee heal up. So I didn't have high expectations for him his rookie year to begin with, but now it's kind of just like, okay, when he returns, is that knee going to hold up? How's that going to look? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But man, I appreciate y'all. Thanks so much for hanging out. It's been an hour and a half on the stream. I'm going to call it a night, but always love talking football with you guys. It's not always so far this season how we've wanted it. We have wanted more wins, haven't gotten any. It's a weird time, I guess, for Chiefs fans, but it's not really a time to despair. It's not the end of the world. I still have trust that they're going to right the ship. They're going to turn things around, and they have the pieces to do it, and reinforcements are coming. You just need to try to get through some of these teams and escape with a W, which they've been close to doing the first 2 weeks, but just not quite there. And in all fairness, week 1, Worthy did leave 3 plays in due to injury, and the game plan was kind of thrown out. They were stagnant for 3 drives, but then after that kind of came alive. But you saw the loss of Worthy, in my opinion, a little bit more this past week against a pretty good Eagles defense, a really good Eagles defense, and a great defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio. So 2 tough opponents. I think the Giants should be a W, but you can't sleepwalk past them and just only focus on the Ravens. That's for sure. Wyatt, thanks for the Marcus, rather. Thanks for the gifted. Appreciate all the mods holding it down. Thanks for all the super chats. Everybody hanging out, man. It's always a fun time to talk. Football is back, and you know it when there's like 700 people in chat just hanging out on a Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m., 9:50 p.m. as we talk some Chiefs and NFL. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back for the game on Sunday night. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go.
How about those Chiefs?